Guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dominica, and today it's going to be my own version of glowing like Jennifer Lopez. I've studied her makeup for such a long time. I think she looks awesome every time she has a makeup on, every time she makes a public appearance. And there's so many people that try to recreate that look, and the only thing that I've learned over the time is that everybody has a little bit different skin. Everybody reacts to different products differently, so you have to find your own. So after trials and a lot of failure and trying again and again, I think that I came up with the makeup that it's doable, affordable, anyone can recreate and make it happen. And I don't know, what do you think? Is it glowy? Is it bronzy and glowy enough for you? I don't know, but if you're interested in learning how I've achieved this look and how I actually complete this makeup, continue to watch. Okay guys, step one, hydrating mask. If you feel that your moisturizer doesn't give you enough of moisture, that your eye cream is not good and it sucks, do that. These are like a $1 mask, $2-3. They're available pretty much everywhere. Do it for yourself. Replenish that moisture. Be hydrated. This is step one to any successful makeup. So it's not a shock to you if I tell you that the number one and secret behind glowy and nice looking makeup is actually hydration. So you get hydration from within, so it's very important what you put in your body, what you eat, but also what kind of skincare you're using. So my skin is prepped, pretty much prepped for the makeup. So I have my serums, my moisturizers, my eye cream, just because this area is pretty thin and dry for most parts. But before the glowy tutorial, I think that it makes sense to show you what I'm using, and I have two versions of oil that I'm using a few minutes before I start applying makeup. So I didn't put that on yet, but I want to show you, and I want to actually put that on, and I think it's going to make a difference in the makeup that I'm trying to actually do today. So before I start applying makeup, over my serums and my moisturizers, I use the face oil. And so there's so many options. You can use coconut oil, you can use argan oil, rosehip oil if you are into those type of oils. But also I found something recently. I found Bare Minerals External Elixir, and that's a skin volumizing oil serum. This is what I'm actually going to use for this tutorial. Take a look at that. And that's somewhat affordable item. You have 2 layers, so you have to mix it and shake it before you use it. Same thing with this one. This is actually my Polish secret. That's what I tell people. It's a rose serum, but what it really is a 2-part serum and the oil. The pink stuff is the oil on the bottom. Or not the oil is probably top. I don't know which one is which. But basically I found it in one of the Polish stores, and I'm just like, you know what? I know we make some good stuff sometimes for face and for bodies, so why not? I actually use a lot of Polish brands because now it's easier for me to find them in the United States. So this became actually one of my favorite things. It's something that you have to shake as well. And you can use it as a serum, and in this case I could use it as a pre-primer product that I use in order to add a little bit more hydration, and this is pretty much the secret behind it. So without further ado, let's go with the Bare Mineral oil that I found. So you just take a few drops, warm it between your fingers, and you put over entire face. I put it over my eye cream, I put over my creams, my serums, any skincare that I'm using, and that creates such a beautiful canvas to work with. I honestly think that sometimes I could skip the primer, not in this tutorial, but sometimes I skip primer and just put the oil on, and I just apply makeup over it. So for the glowy makeup, majority of the times I use oil because I feel like this adds additional volume to my skin and additional glow. So step number 2, outside of hydrations and your skincare, is actually a primer. And I found something that makes glowy makeup very easy. I have a few different versions. There's Stila one, and I have Too Faced Do You one, and that's what I'm using today, the Too Faced one. And what it is, it's a primer with sparkles in it. Maybe sparkles is not the right thing to say. It's basically shimmery, you know, and this is what I do. I put about this much, warm it up between the fingers, and I apply it over entire face, a little bit on the forehead. I just like to apply it over entire face because it just really makes it easy for me to apply the rest of the makeup on. And I don't know if you can tell it, but my skin is just like now glowy without anything else on it. It adds this extra sheen to my skin, and I really, really love how it feels as I'm distributing it evenly over my entire face. I can tell you already that it adds additional hydration. It actually feels amazing, very soft, very glowy on my skin, and that sheen on it, look at my fingers, there's still a lot of glitter on it, almost like. So this, I would say, is probably the biggest secret in glowy makeup. I think that a lot of different makeup artists achieve this look differently depending on the product that they use. I just found the shortcut. So the primer with the sparkles in it, with the shimmer in it, actually makes my job so much easier. This primer is one of my favorite ones to do this quickly, efficiently, and this is what I was just striving for. So okay, so now that the primer is drying, we can actually start doing the face. And for today's tutorial, I'm gonna use L'Oreal True Match foundation, which is available to pretty much anyone and everywhere. And I'm using color True Beige number 5. This would be my color mostly for summertime, I think, but I'm not actually complaining. This is a pretty good color for the entire year, so for me. So I put that much on the back of my hand, and now I see that it's kind of darker, but I'm gonna work with it regardless. So I just use the brush because this is my favorite way of applying makeup. So I just apply makeup as if I was normally doing it. There's nothing special, nothing different about it. So you just apply it over that glittery, shimmery primer, and that's what makes this makeup look so good, is because you get the instant glow by just applying the foundation. I don't know if you can tell it, but it blends so beautifully. One of the reasons I love this foundation so much is because it really is a true match type of foundation. It adapts to pretty much any skin type, any skin color, and the colors that they have available are pretty good. I feel that majority of us would find something in that line, a color that you could use. So as you can see, the makeup itself looks very soft and very luminous, and part of the success is truly that primer that I use. But additional thing that I really like is that just formula of the foundation. It's very soft, very silky, very smooth, and honestly, with the few strokes of the brush, I was able to achieve pretty good coverage. So what I'm going for today is actually not a full coverage. It may end up looking like full coverage because I'm gonna put bronzer and all of those products on, but the idea behind it is to have makeup that looks very natural, that you can pull this look off in a few minutes as you're in a rush in the morning, and it basically looks nice and glowy. And this makeup, it's so easy to apply and it stays on for a while. It actually doesn't disappoint. That foundation stays in place because even though it's like glowy and dewy type of look, the makeup doesn't shift. And because of the primer that I use and all the preparations that I did, all the hydration that I put in my skin, this foundation just doesn't shift. Even though it's very silky and liquidy, it doesn't shift once I apply it on, because the primer grips to it and it actually makes it so much easier. So that would be it for the foundation. I'm not gonna put any more. Just make sure you extend it to the neck. I'm a little bit lighter right now because it's winter time, and so I'm going to apply the rest of the makeup. So okay, so I'm going to actually do my eyes off camera, and then I'm gonna come back to apply the rest of the makeup. Okay, so I didn't use the false lashes, but that's pretty much it for the eye makeup. This is what I did. It's a little bit like kind of like cutting the crease type of look. If you're interested in it, I'm gonna make another video on that. So that's pretty much it. And if you want to leave it here and just apply a little bit of a bronzer, that's fine. I'm just gonna do it the longer way, just so kind of you can see what type of product I'm using. So just to set it up a tiny bit, I'm going to use the powder, but before that I actually am going to use a little bit of a concealer, and for that I'm using Bye Bye Under Eye by It Cosmetics, just because I heard so many good things about it and it's supposed to last for a very long time. So I'm just taking a tiny little bit of that, and I'm just gonna apply a little bit with my fingertip, just a tiny bit, just to brighten this area up, clean up whatever fallout I have from the shadows. So I'm going to use Laura Mercier Pressed Powder Smooth Finish Foundation Powder. I happen to like it a lot. It's a little bit on the heavier side. It gives a little bit of a color as well, but I love setting makeup with it because it really makes everything looks blurry and set and soft, and that's why I like this powder a lot. Now let's move to the bronzer. I'm actually going to use the Too Faced Chocolate de Soleil bronzer, which is one of my favorites, and I'm just going to apply a little bit here and on the other side. And honestly, like during the winter time, I don't try to apply tone of the bronzer, just to make sure that it looks good and it doesn't look too dark. And this happens to be one of my favorite bronzer. I think I've used it for at least 10 different tutorials, to be honest, and I haven't found anything better than that. I don't get me wrong, I have a lot of favorites. I have a lot of bronzers that I really like, but with this one, there's something about the color and the formulation in this one that actually I applied over the summertime and also the winter time as well. So I'm actually going to use a little bit of Milani blush, and it broke into pieces, but I still want to use it, so I'm just going to be very gentle. And this one is just so bright, and there's something about this color that I love so much. So just on the cheeks here, just to, I feel like when you talk about blush and this youthful appearance, this is the type of color that you're probably thinking of. It's kind of like a fluorescent peach, if you want to call it, if you try to figure out the color. I absolutely love this color. I absolutely love it on me. I love that on other people. I actually did a tutorial on my sister who has almost olive skin, and it actually looked so amazing on her. So yeah, this is the blush to go with. Some people put it a little bit on the nose, which is fine. I'm not that crazy, but that would be it for the face. And also the highlighter, I'm just using the Anastasia Gold, and just a tiny bit here just to highlight that area. And this what makes this makeup even more glowy and dewy when you apply a little bit of the highlighter. I think I went overboard with that, but this is kind of to give you an idea how, like, you thought that this is already a dewy and glowy makeup, but when you apply highlighter on the top of everything that you've done to make it glowy and luminous, this adds something extra on the top of that. So this is pretty much the face. And let's see, today I'm using NYX matte lip liner in Tea and Cookies, and so I'm just doing my usual. So this is just simply to line it, and I'm using Peri Peri Ink Airy Stick in number 2. So okay, so this would be it for this tutorial. This is what this makeup looks like when it's done. I have to say that when I look in the mirror, I'm pretty happy with it. It's a really good idea for the daytime, but also for a party. Like, the way I do my makeup is typically the way that it doesn't shift, it stays on, it doesn't move, and that's because I do use the primer for that, and then it's just the application of the foundation itself, or maybe the product that go over. You know, if your foundation is too shifty, too luminous, too liquidy almost, then you use the setting spray, and then you want to use also a primer that would grab it and hold it in place. So in this case, this is just the selection that I've made, but you can try with different products and see what works for you. But yeah, this is my everyday J-Lo glow. I know I have I'm blonde and I have blue eyes and I don't look like J-Lo at all, but I feel that some of the tricks that her makeup artists have are priceless, and a lot of it I'm just discovering as I go. So this is just my version of glowy, dewy, bronzy for any occasion. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment behind. Let me know if you want a tutorial on the eye makeup that I did for this. This is what it looks like. Yeah, just hit me up and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I hope to see you in my next video.